What was it like filming in that Deadpool? That's like, I watched it with Dwight. It's such a sick film.
Mad, like more than anything.
Yeah, but I'd talk.
No, because they built the full set on an English street, like it was in a studio, and you walk in behind, like there's curtains, like all around the top in case anyone tries to see. You couldn't get in anyway, but like you walk through basically a black curtain, and it's just the set's like a proper American street.
The full
like,
set's just a full
there's
street.
like smoke coming out, the steam coming out the floors. Like obviously it's New York and stuff. Like,
did I see a picture and you've got it? The suit in your house.
it's in the stadium at the minute.
Can you take it though? Is it yours to take or nah?
Well, I'm not meant to, but
if
I ever left or whatever happens in the future, Ryan said at some point you'll give me a.
So,
but obviously it's good at the minute because it's good. It lets at the stadium, so everyone
it's great.
can go and see
Everyone
it,
can go and look at it.
Everyone knows it was me who played it. But
lad, I just want to go back to the start.
Kid,
how does Ryan like approach you to do that, and why?
Not everyone thinks it was probably after I'd scored loads of goals.
Okay.
After I'd achieved so much there, and it just wasn't. That was never the case.
Yeah, like you've done well, I'm gonna reward you.
It was never like that. I think the first time Ryan came over was probably September, October of the first season, maybe even later. I'd been sent off the first game they watched, so the next game I was suspended. And you were like, come watch the game, blah, blah, and just chatting normally, thought nothing of it. And then that Christmas of the first year I'd signed there, it was Christmas Day, actually. And I was sat in the pub with my dad. He goes for a pint Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Until that year of because it was COVID, so he could have a drink. Our game was called off the next day. So I was sat in the pub and Ryan texted me, like, just talking normal, like, happy Christmas, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to apologise in advance, but I've wrote a script for Deadpool. I'd like you to be in it with your own character.
Now talk to me.
Why are you apologising? like, in my head, I'm thinking, why are you apologising? Like, that's one of the
what's going through your head when he says that? Because, like, are you a fan of the whole scene of, like, Deadpool, Marvel, all of it? You know what I mean, though?
No, I'd watched the first couple of Deadpools after that. I hadn't watched it before. He texted me saying that.
But, like, where in Ryan Reynolds' head is he writing the script for Deadpool and goes, oh, yeah, P. Mullin.
Makes sense now when you've watched it.
It makes so much sense.
Welshpool. But when he said it to me, I was like, how are you going to put me in that? Like, a bit mad.
Lad.
Yeah, I don't want to. I was sat in the pub and I was like, a bit mad that I didn't.
Sat in a boozer with your arm, man.
I'd known them 6 months, so at this point I didn't know fully what they were like. I know they were nice people, but now I know them as like, if they say they're going to do something, they'll do it, or like they'll try the best to do it. Like they'll stick to any promise they make or anything they tell you. And I read it and was like, at first, like, all right, bit mad that in it, Dad. And he was like,
So you were a bit like, oh, it's just a text message, you probably forget in a few days.
Very nearly never happened after that as well.
Why?
Which wouldn't have been his fault. Because, so they had the writers' strike in, obviously, America, all over the world and stuff. So then everyone had to stop writing, and then they started filming again in the summer, but then our season had started back up, and the plan was for us to film it when I was off.
Before the season starts.
Yeah, so then our season started back up. Obviously, I'd been injured in America and things, come back, got fit. And then around December time, he was like, we're going to need to do it soon, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it in because obviously the gaffer might not let you, and because you're in season and things like that.
Oh, lad.
I was like, don't worry about the gaffer, like, I'll tell him that I need to do it. So, but to be fair, they obviously rang the gaffer and asked him, and he said sound, and to give me a day off during the week in January to go and film it.
Is there any future of you getting in more acting scenes?
What, in
I don't
Marvel
know, any
movies or anything? I don't know. I don't mind it. Like, it was actually good, you know.
What was it like on the shoot on the day? Like, explain. I've never been on a movie set like that. So walk me through it.
No, it was mad, and I think I was probably quite fortunate because it was also like over so quick. Because that day, obviously, I'd been took out of training. Basically, like when you're in school, you get took out of
Special
school.
treatments,
Yeah. So like when I arrived there, like Ryan had set up like my own trailer. Like there's like 4 people putting the outfit on me as quick as they could.
Oh, like a vacuum, so it was dead tight to you?
No, but like it was already measured, so I had to send measurements for them to make it to my size and things like that. So that was all done. But then
so
obviously,
can you jump back in the suit now?
Could I?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I might have gone a bit bigger since then because I've been doing the waist loss few months. So might have to change it. But so then obviously loads of people helping you get ready as quick as you can. And then as we were filming it, every time there was like a cut, it's like obviously all the staff who were on the film set and stuff were like putting coats on and that, and I'm like, I'm all right. Like, I'm used to being outside, but like, honestly, it was unbelievable. Like, they basically treated me like Ryan for however long I was there. It was over so quick, and I'm one of those people, right? Like, I just sort of roll with what happens, and like, I'll look back on it.
Just roll with
in
the
future,
punches.
do you know what I mean? I just get on with it, and it is what it is, and it's normal while you're doing it. It's far from normal, but I think that's just the way I am. I just sort of.
So you're kind of the guy that'll do the Monday
everything.
to Friday, smash the game out, but then when you're back at home, you'll be like, oh, that happened, scored.
Yeah, like every day is the same. You go to work, you work as hard as you can, because then you go home feeling better about yourself. Like anyone, you go to the gym, work as hard as you can, you go home, feel better. But then once I get in, I feel like that's when work starts for me. Like, I get in and it's about trying to raise my kid as best I can. And
so interesting. I want to get onto that.
And me mum, dad, everyone else who in my life.
You never stop working then, do you? Let's be honest.
No, I don't think anyone does, though.
No, you're so right. I think
like, you go home and you just like, becomes, as a parent, it becomes your job to make everyone else around you happier. Like, you go around the city making everyone else happier. Do you know what I mean? I just do it in my house. So.
It's crazy. I never think of it like that. But you talked about raising your son then. It's actually in my brief to talk about, but you've spoke about your son has autism, and you've spoke about it. Obviously, I've seen Tom Aspinall speak about it too, and I've seen a lot of other people speak about it. What's it like balancing being a father whilst being a professional and being a partner? Is it difficult?
No, I think in life it's like eventually one day, maybe if you have a kid or whatever.
I'll be having kids.
Do you know what I mean?
Little Ryan's running about everywhere.
The baby's obviously in the womb and not here yet. Everyone will tell you, oh, it's the hardest thing ever. You're going to have a lack of sleep. It's this and that. You just get on with it. If your kid cries next to you and you had no sleep for 48 hours, you're not going to sleep. So you just get on with it. It is what it is. Like, you don't have a choice. They depend on you. You just deal with it. And like, for me, the hardest bit sometimes is when things aren't going well, like work-wise. I tend to, when I be at home, I can't, like, sometimes I feel guilty because I'll spend 5 minutes thinking about how to solve a situation in work or whatever like that in footy. And then I feel guilty about the 5 minutes I've just wasted of my time with Albie. Whereas when things was going unbelievable, like the last few years, I walk in, shut the front door, and he doesn't care what I do. I'm his dad. He doesn't care what happened in the day. He just wants my attention for that time. So I used to just shut the door and forget about it all. And now, obviously, the last few months when I weren't playing and stuff, like, I go home and, as I say, 5 minutes, you feel guilty in that. But it's more hard just as a couple more than anything. Like, me and my missus, like, it's hard on us because like, a lot of people would say be able to go away with the missus and leave the kids with the nan and granddad and things like that, or go out for a meal. Like, us going for a meal without Albie can sometimes be like carnage. Like,
what, without Albie? So obviously, is that you leaving Albie with someone?
Yeah, like leaving with me mum or his other nan. Like,
when you say carnage, you mean like you feel guilty, or like what kind of carnage?
We don't feel guilty no more. It makes me laugh, to be honest. But like, when we go out, we could be in the middle of a meal and Albie's just like, I don't know, of us not being there, and he'll be at the front door, out the window, crying, having a meltdown, like, looking for us. He's 6, but he doesn't, like, it's probably our fault in part, because when he was younger, we wouldn't, like, we've always thought if he's happy, that's all that matters, and we forget about ourselves. When he was younger, we'd never really leave him that much, because he thought, like, we don't want to upset him, there's no need, like, what are we going to do? We don't drink, we don't like going out really, we like a meal, we can go over day, like. So now it comes to the bit where we'd like to go out for Saturday night just to have some food or whatever and go home. Sometimes, like, it can be a nightmare, and he has like proper withdrawal symptoms from us not being there, and that's tough. And obviously we can't go away for a couple of days together because Albie's so routine and he's stuck in his ways, and then we feel guilty leaving him like that to obviously go and be selfish.
Explain to me, Paul, because I don't understand. I don't know how to put this. Like, I'm like, I understand what autism is, but I know there's so many different types, is it? So I don't.
Yeah, it's just like autism is one thing, but each autistic child's different to another. But but the thing for me is each child's different to each other. Like,
100%.
So it's not that they're autistic or not; they're just different. Like,
so
the brains work differently to everyone else. Like, but my brain works differently to yours. Doesn't mean I'm
100%.
autistic. So like, being autistic, obviously, you need like a diagnosis to help with things in school and having one-to-ones and help him that way. But equally, like, he's just the same as every other kid. His mind works differently, and
If anything, it's a superpower.
Cool. I just think it's cool. Like,
That's what I'm saying. It's cool. It's
imagine
a
having a
superpower.
choice sometimes just to like
Zone
ignore
in.
someone. Do you know what I mean? Like someone can speak to you there, and you just like got to shut it up. You don't even
I feel
look.
like you've
Do you
got
know what
that.
I mean? But he gets away with it because I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like, he's
fair
not
enough.
ignoring me. He's just like he's not
like got a
hearing me at
whole
this
pass,
moment.
like
do you know what I mean?
yeah, I'm gonna
Do you know
ignore
what I
you.
mean?
And
Like it's class, but he's so clever and does his like own little things in life. But yesterday, for the first time, he tried jelly. So
seen it on the
so,
story.
Like, he's so structured through his food and things like that. He
I've
has the
seen
same
it on
ready
the story.
meals. Like cost me a fortune going on holiday because I've got to buy a big bag, frozen ice, booked doctor's notes, all sorts, just to get this food over there. A big massive bag. I'm walking through the airport, my hands freezing. Need
Like the
gloves and
dinner
that.
lady, just
That's
loads
what
of
I mean.
meals.
I've got gloves on through the airport. I have to go through the scanners every time, get stopped. But like he's never. Like he doesn't try things. He's scared. That's what it is. It's like a fear of the food and the texture.
It's a fear of not doing something that's not normal to his routine.
But like,
That's
you know,
standard though. My man cooks
slime?
bacon. I'm just like, nah, chill.
So like the kids' slime that they play with, he always messes about to go to eat it and we always shout at him. Well, not shout at him, but stop him. Like,
Yeah, you
don't do
can't-
that,
can't
don't
eat
do
that.
that. Like, keep pulling it out of his mouth and he thinks it's a game. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get him jelly. And if he goes to eat it, I'm just going to let him
So he
see
thinks
what he does.
Maybe
So
he thinks
this
it's the
morning he
slime.
woke up and he had toast for breakfast and then he asked me for red slime, which is the red jelly. And I was like, yeah, no problem. What? There you go.
Lad,
Here's your
that
red
gets me
slime.
excited.
So I tipped it out for him and he just sat there and he was looking at me just to be like, you're not going to shout. I'm like, go on, eat as much as you want, lad. And he
That's
finished the whole
so
thing.
good.
But
Like,
before that, he'd never
great parenting.
done it. But it was just like, we just try things all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, the worst thing when you are a parent of a child who's got additional needs or autism or whatever is people saying to you, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Do you not think I've tried it? Like,
But like you said, every kid's
it's
different,
just the
innit?
way it is. That's
It's
what
not
I
like
mean.
something that works over
That's
here
what I mean.
might
It
not
might
work
work
for
for your
you.
kid or it might work for you. They're not him.
Would you say Albie and your missus are like the main things for your success?
Yeah, probably. But there's a load in it. My family, like my mum, dad, and brothers and sisters. Like in terms of like talent wise and things like that, my mum and dad luckily was able to provide me with like a garden, which was like just about long enough for me to practice shooting from like the edge of the box. You know, it's quite
Yeah.
uncanny, but I think the distance in the end was like 23 yards
That's what you mean.
to the goal, and literally it was like the width of the penalty area. So I literally practiced that all day. So obviously I'm grateful to them. I've got brothers and sisters who used to stick me in goal and suffer me up and do whatever, do you know what I mean? Bully me, but at the same time love me more than anything. And then meeting me missus and obviously having Albies when my career sort of changed. The sort of football was everything to me. And I used to go to bed at a certain time, drink the right amount of this, that, whatever.
Like regimented?
Yeah, everything was so like scheduled, scripted. Like I'd eat the same foods. Like, and I felt like I was in shackles at times, and then it wouldn't have the effect I wanted it to. Like I'd think you do all this and you put all the hard work in, and you get where you're gonna go. Do you know what I mean? Like what's happened now, what happened then was like me thought process, and it weren't working. And then I was at Tranmere at the time, and manager wouldn't play me. And I'd do all this stuff and it wouldn't work, and it didn't matter what I'd done at that point because I weren't going to play. Like he'd made that clear. And I went on loan to Cambridge and COVID come, and then I was sat in COVID just thinking, you know what, like Cambridge offered me 2-year contract. I said, I only want one because if I don't like him, I'm coming home to Albie. He was one at this point. I didn't really want to leave him, but I knew I had to. And I went there and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do what my body tells me. Like your mind doesn't lie. If it wants something, give it give your mind it. Do you know what I mean? And I just went with it, and there'd be times I'd be sat on the couch and I'd want a glass of Coke or whatever, and I'd just have one, or I'd want biscuits. It's still, like my diet is still brilliant, do you know what I mean? It's still really good, but if my body wants something, like
You ain't a robot.
If I'm sat on the couch, I stopped being a robot and I lived my life, and I realised once Albie was born that life was bigger than footy. Like that was obviously a part of my life, but it weren't what was important anymore. It weren't like the ultimate focus. It was just about me child, my family, and me.
So
me
interesting
missus.
that because
So it released me of like pressures.
pressure.
I had all pressure on myself to achieve so much in that. And the moment I took, like, we took all that off because the only pressure I had was trying to provide for him and making sure he was okay. Then everything else, like,
there's a
took
lesson
off.
in that, you know.
It's just mad.
The minute you realise someone else was more important than you lived life
Well,
fully.
that's what I was always the most important person in my life. And obviously being the youngest sibling, I was probably the most
that's
important
me,
person
mate.
in my brothers and sisters' lives, in my mum and dad's lives, because it always felt that way, do you know what I mean? Like I was like so close to my granddad. Like he lived down the bottom of the road. Me and him used to go to town every day. So I always felt like I was probably like the most important person in my life and things like that. And obviously when I'll become it was a realization, you're not like, you don't matter really. Like, I don't care about myself anymore as long as him and everyone else around me is all right.
That pressure you put on yourself though, I'm getting robotic feelings off it. Like,
that was bad.
Wake
when I
up
look
this
back
time,
now, it was...
like, you know, eat this. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe professionals should follow a certain route, which you will still do.
Yeah,
obviously
like
you
my
go to
diet's
training.
still brilliant. Do you know what I mean? I don't eat like burgers and stuff. Like, my food's all
100%.
healthy, but the odd occasion I'm sat on the couch and I'm like, I want a cup of tea and biscuits, I'll go and make them. Whereas
look at you.
I used to stop myself doing that. I used to like stop myself doing things that I wouldn't go out on certain days. I wouldn't play golf the day before the game and things like that. Like, just
but now you're just like
life.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, look at the change in your career the minute you realised, man, there's a life to live here as well as playing the best football I've ever played.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
It was just like as I say, a release of doing everything.
So many pros can learn off that.
Like,
so many.
I sort of just let go of all the chasing a career and chasing things and just let it happen. Like, rather than thinking about scoring goals, I always say it just happens, like a natural gift I probably had from practicing for years in my mum's garden. It just happens. I can do it. It doesn't matter no matter where you play. I think if I got the ball from 20 yards, I'll score. Like,
do you reckon if I spent a year with you in your ma's garden, I'd be able to at least bag 5 goals in League One?
Well, it depends if you take pens or not. Probably not, no, but if you took pens, like,
I had to put myself up there, you know. I just had to like put myself in the mix. Like, no, there's this thing where like people always say, like, do you think if you played for Man City, not you, like myself, like a normal person who can't obviously play footy professionally, do you think I'd be able to bag like 10 goals in the Prem?
No, it doesn't work like that. I know one of the lads actually said yes to something like that a while back. And like it's like, yeah, obviously you see Aguero or whoever it is, do you know what I mean? Haaland tap it in from 4 yards out. But at the same time, they've just sprinted from like this could be in the 80th minute. And they've sprinted around all game at a speed we can't reach with more contact than we have. Like, the game's totally different, so you might not even be in that position. So yeah, if you're stood there, my granddad could have done that. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously he's passed away now, but I mean, like, my granddad at 88, he could stand a yard out. If someone passed him a ball, he can kick it in the goal. But that's not how it'd work. Do you know what I mean? Everything to get to that moment, like. So
what you're saying is I wouldn't be able to bag 10 goals if I played in the Prem up top.
Absolutely, on FIFA, lads, you can't. You know what I mean?
I was backing myself. Like, I always say to the lads at Everton, like, lad, 10 1-on-1s, you're not getting past me more than 5 times.
I think you can just foul them.
That is true.
Do you know what I mean?
That is true. I always just say, like, I don't know, I always back myself. Like, I'll always be able to.
You've got to, no matter what it is in life. Like, you've got to make sure that you.
It is a funny thing that
you back yourself up.
Like,
no
people in boozers are like, lad, I'll be able to do that. And it's just like, bro.
It makes me laugh, like, when
the speed's different.
Have fans and stuff who actually don't know what goes on behind the scene. You literally turn up on the Saturday.
Me dad's perfect at it. My dad.
People will say now to me, oh, like, he can't play in League One because I played started 10 games this year or whatever. Like, for one, mate, so what if I can't? Do you know what I mean? So what if I can't? What have you ever done? No one asked for your opinion, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? But 2, like, I literally was one of the best players in the league below last year, so all of a sudden you can't play in that league. You, like, literally got a back surgery last year. How many surgeries you had, mate? Do you know what I mean? Like, these people, like, it's just social media. It's so stupid, but it entitles people to an opinion that
it doesn't look like it bothers you,
irrelevant. No, because I just find it funny. Like, things like that, like, you just put it into context. Like, my mates could say that about, like, they could say about Trent leaving or whatever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, obviously, we're all Liverpool fans. We all, like, would kill to play for Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? But once you've done it, you don't know how it feels. I don't know how it feels. I've never played for Liverpool. Yeah. Like, I've never
and also
played
you don't know how it
feels
when
week.
You get a contract from Real Madrid.
Do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get the feeling of all the fans. Like, they're entitled to an opinion because the way they feel, they do anything to play for Liverpool 100%. Rather than anyone else because we all love Liverpool.
I'm a fan.
I'd be the same. Everton. Do you know what I mean? If I had the choice to play for Real Madrid or Liverpool, and they haven't done either.
I'm like this close from Moisey asking me to play right back.
But when you've already done it, nobody knows how he actually feels because none of us can put ourselves in that position or that. Like,
even you as a professional don't even know how he feels.
You can't say how someone feels in a certain position. Do you know what I mean? So it's just life and people's opinions. I got used to it over time. I used to usually me Scouse personality.
Especially the past few years, though. A lot more
yeah, but like me
limelight, a lot
Scouse
more
personality
fame.
at first, I'd want to come back and be like, what are you going on about? Like, just put people straight. But you'd spend your whole days doing it.
Yeah, there's so
So in
many.
the end, you just sit there and just laugh. Like, obviously, I've seen the video you like saying about like after you've done a few things, like people just start like trying to abuse you and that. But I actually look at it now sometimes, I just think it's a privilege. Like,
It is.
people are abusing me because I'm doing something good.
All press is good press, innit?
Things like that. So why would I be bothered? Because if people weren't like abusing me or responding to posts however way they want to do it or whatever, like I wouldn't be doing anything. Like,
if anything, I'm like, get it up so his transfer market goes up. Transfer.
It's mad, isn't it? Like,
I'm on commission,
like
so nah, I'm only joking.
You just like, I don't know, I think it's sort of part of.
A lot of pros are affected. Sorry, a lot of professionals are affected by it though. Like, you're very free and easy. You're like, look, if I'll be called
don't get me wrong, there's still things that bug you. Do you know what I mean? Everyone, you're only human. Like, it's up to you if you go looking for it. Don't. Like, but if you still can't see it, because the thing with Twitter now, like, I'd never go and search your own stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's just asking for trouble because you're looking to find someone saying you're a knobhead. Like, that's just the way it is. But if you go on Twitter now and it just says for you, and my name's my name, I can't change it. So as soon as you go on Twitter, it just tells you that loads about your name. Do you know what I mean?
Stop going.
And it's like, it's when people like will come up with stupid stuff. Like, there was a thing early in the year of like, I'll like have rang the owners of Rob and Ryan and gone above the manager, and that's why I'm not playing.
Where do people get this stuff from?
Like, I don't know where they get it from. Like, don't get me wrong, the manager could have helped me out and just come out and said why you weren't playing me. Like, and then that would have been it done. I don't know why that didn't happen, but I had to respond because I was like, that's not me. Like, that's not my personality. That didn't happen.
Something happened similar to me.
So
recently.
I had to reply to it. Do you know what I mean? When you feel like the need to reply. Whereas if someone says,
I get it completely.
he's being crap. Like, all right, mate, fair enough. You can have your opinion. But in my head, I'll sit there and be like, yeah, mate, I got a back surgery 5 months ago. I've played 4 games in 2 weeks, then didn't play for 2 months, then played 4 games in 9 days. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, it's a difference.
Do you know what I mean? It's different from playing every week like I have for the last 3 years.
But to that, you felt like you needed to answer, whereas it happened to me recently. I done content with Paddy in the stands. Everton fans are giving me sticks saying you've got him a ticket. What are you doing? There's Everton fans who need tickets, and you're going, like, where does that come across that I've got him? Because I've done my job and got and I had to answer. I said, lad, you are miles off it. How have I got him a ticket? Even if it did, like, you know what I mean? It's got no business with anyone else. But
even if it did, he's my mate and so
exactly. Like, but I never, and I'm getting stick for it. And the derby was like 3 months ago, 4 months, and people are still giving me stick for it.
The one you want to too.
Don't start that here, because I just start throwing things, you know. You're a pro footy player.
Do you know what? I was actually there in like the Liverpool end for the last one. I'd never been to Goodison in the Liverpool end for the derby. I'd only ever sat in the Everton end when I was a kid. But obviously, it being a Wednesday night, I could go. And I remember, like,
you sat in the Everton because you're blue.
I like to think sometimes I can just like see footy a little bit better. You know what I mean? Liverpool fans dancing around singing we've won the league at Goodison Park, obviously. And then that goal went in with Tarkowski. And I started laughing, like genuinely stood there laughing. Obviously, everyone's devastated because in my head, I'm like, Liverpool have already won the league. Like, they're going to win the league. You know, they haven't lost the game, or they've only lost 1 game all year at this point. Do you know what I mean? So I can actually like rationalise that in the moment, and I'm like laughing. But then when it went to VAR, I was stood there saying to the lad next to me, how funny would this be? He just allowed it. But I can see all the lads were getting ready to run on the pitch, and I think it would have been carnage. So it was a good job it didn't. You know, if it had got disallowed.
Because everyone was like, pitch.
No, I don't know if they were, but it was looking like it could get a little bit edgy, you know, if it got disallowed. Just because all the fans ran on it too. I was like, but obviously it didn't. And
that would have been absolutely carnage if all the Liverpool away fans ran on.
Imagine that, like, there's been so much trouble, but
it actually could have got called off too in terms of the goal because of the Kanate and the push, and there's loads of thingy about it, but it is what it is, isn't it?
If you didn't have decisions, then
it is what it is. What I've realised is you mentioned your granddad a lot.
Yeah.
And like, you said he's not here anymore. I'm so sorry about that.
No,
it's part of life, but how much does a man like that mean to you? You've mentioned him a lot. Like, speak to me about your granddad.
No, he was class. I was like, I don't know, he only lived at the bottom of my road. I was always down in his house growing up, and I think I didn't probably remember my granddad more, like, when things aren't going so well, because my granddad was probably like my biggest supporter in life. So like when say I was 16, 17, I'd been released from Liverpool, weren't playing anywhere, and my granddad would still have the cheek at the time in my head to like tell people like he's going to be a footy player, he's going to do this and that, and I'm sitting there thinking, shut up, do you know what I mean? You're going to make me look stupid in 4 years. Not the pressure, I weren't bothered about that. It was more like the embarrassment of failing from him saying it, like you're going to make yourself and me look stupid, like shut up. But like he didn't care, he just kept doing it and wasn't bothered, like just believed in me. And then obviously it was a year and a half ago now that he passed away. But like towards the end, he didn't really, like he started getting dementia and things. He died of cancer, but he had dementia, so he couldn't really see what it'd become. And he'd like been so happy to tell everyone, like obviously he could see the telly and things like that,
goosebumps.
But he didn't really like understand the fact that I'd be in a movie or things like that, which was quite sad because after him telling everyone when I was doing nothing that I was going to achieve something in life and I'd play footy and things like that, and loads of people know him and stuff like that. Like for him not to know that was happening fully was quite sad. But he was probably, like growing up, he was probably the person I spent most time with outside of like my mum and dad and family and stuff. He was probably like my best mate. We used to go to coffee every day. I'd be off school at 16, I left school. And like I used to go for a coffee with him every day. He'd be outside the house 1 minute to 9, beeping the horn. I'd be trying to brush my teeth running down the stairs and he'd be fuming in the car. I'm like, there's a train every 15 minutes, and I'd like, you don't have to rush. But he had to get the same train every day. But yeah, he was like my best mate, and we just used to just walk around town and all the time.
That's amazing, that. Do you miss it?
Like that, I miss him when, obviously, more so when every day, but more so when things aren't going well. But what is uncanny, I actually said this yesterday, is sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth, I go like that for my phone to think I need to ring my granddad. Still now, and like the amount of times I pick my phone up and just going, idiot, and put my phone back in my pocket, because it's like, I don't know why that moment, I'd never thought of it obviously when he was still here, never ever, but then like it was a few months after he'd gone and stuff, and obviously well after the funeral and things, I would just be brushing my teeth in the mirror. I'm like, I'll get my phone out, and like I got to the point where he actually typed his name in my phone to ring him, and just as I got like halfway through typing his name, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work because he's not going to answer. Like, but
are you an emotional guy, Paul?
Moment.
Are you an emotional guy?
When it comes to family or my kid, yeah.
Like you speaking about your granddad's giving me goosebumps.
And when I don't know, I probably run a lot of my life on emotion. Like being at Wrexham, it's probably gone so well because I'm emotionally invested. Again, I am probably emotional, like definitely emotional when it comes to my family. We're all very much like that. We're just so protective of each other. Do
you feel like all your career you've been emotionally invested, or once you let go of that robotic feeling, then you were allowing yourself?
Once I got out of that, I think once Albie was born, I've never played a football match and thought about Albie. Like people say, I was doing it for them, and like to see fights as off as player, I was playing, I was thinking I've got to do it for them. I pushed myself harder. Never once. Like you didn't focused on the game, or if you're having a fight, you're focused on the fight. You're not thinking of your kid, because by the time you do that, you're asleep.
Then you know what I mean? You're done.
That's what I'm saying. So I've never thought of that, but subconsciously, I think having Albie just allowed me to let go of everything, and I become more emotionally involved in everything that's going on around me, rather than just being so selfish and self-driven just to.
So having a kid really opened up your life in ways you probably never imagined, professionally and personally.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened in my life. Like,
so interesting. That
everyone says it. Like your kids, like the best thing. Like you don't know love until you've got your kids. Like
I'm excited to have kids.
It's class, man. Honestly, it's like the best thing in the world. Obviously, there's times when you're sat on the couch and thinking, well, you just go to bed. Like, the footy's on. Do you know what I mean? I've got Mickey Mouse down me here. And because you're autistic, you keep me winding in the same place. But I know all the words to Mickey Mouse now, and he's learns all his words off Mickey Mouse, I think.
That's the beauty
as well
of
as
it,
us. And just like, there's pluses and everything. But I think just having him just basically changed my outlook on life, which probably then had a positive effect on everything else. I don't know, because it's not something I've ever really, like, thought of when I play. But at the same time, I think him being the way he is, and me being more worried about him than I am about myself and football,
it opens
has
it
meant
up.
that it's gone a lot better. And
when you mention your mum and dad,
I can be free, because when I'm in the house,
so
I feel like
that.
I'm not as free anymore. I'm not. You can't be free when you're a dad or a parent. You're
obliged to look after someone else.
Your kid, like, you got to look after them. You got to do the best by them. I can't be. Like, if Albie needs his dinner, but I want to go and play golf, can't just say get your own dinner and go out. Do you know what I mean?
Get eggs round the corner.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, back in the day, you could, when you didn't have a kid, you just want to go golf, you just walk up the door
and that is selfish. That is like, I'm going.
As soon as Albie was born, like had just all about him, and it changed everything about me because
It's really, really
I
lovely
only
listening to
really
you.
care about my family and
No one
Aldi
sees
now.
this
Like, I
side of
love
Paul.
football. Like, I love playing at Wrexham. I love my career. I love like doing it. But the moment I get home, I forget about it. I forget about so many things. Like the feelings of some games and that you forget about how it feels because ultimately, like, there's bigger things in life. Like, obviously, football's really important because it's providing me with a living to be able to give Albie a better life. Like, so you've got to be good at it in order to keep that going, to give him a better future. But he comes first. I know, even if I lost everything right now, like, as long as he's there, I'll make sure he's happy. It doesn't matter. Like,
No one sees this side
if
of
I've
Paul.
got to go and pick litter off the street for people, and I don't care. Like, it's just as long as he's all right, then it doesn't matter to me. So that's all that matters. And
Very grateful for you to coming on today, you know, because no one sees the side of Paul Mullin. I'm very, very grateful.
I think
Honestly,
everyone knows it, to be honest. Though,
everyone
like,
knows it, the type of man you are, but I feel like you talking like this just shows the human side of people in a professional scene.
yeah, like, I think everyone's probably got this persona in media and things like that, and
Very
whatever.
easy to take a
People
picture.
can make you judgment off you in 10 seconds by looking at a video online. Like, you don't know anyone, do you know what I mean? Like, you just don't. And I'm just one of those people, obviously, I'm really grateful for as what I've achieved. Like, I wouldn't say I'm lucky because I work bloody hard for it. I give my whole life from 4 till 25 to ever get any sort of success, and then so on and so forth. So I worked really hard for it, but I'm grateful for all, like, the support and love I have doing it. But
When you look at
Albie matters more than
the
everything.
story you've just told me about your mum and dad, I want to touch on that quick. What was it like growing up? You grew up in Liverpool? Like, from my angle, I see a lot of professionals, especially in the Liverpool scene, think they're the main character before they've even touched first 10 minutes, and they end up dropping off because they think they've, you know, I used to have a few pros in my school who'd be getting paid great money for their age, and they think they've made it. How did you survive that? How did you get out of that
Now,
bubble?
my career was very different, my rising. So when I was 4, I started playing for Everton with the under 7s
That's
and 8s,
very young, that.
which was ridiculous. But my mum at the time said to me, like, they've asked you to go, do you want to go or not? And I said, yeah. And obviously, being a parent, she'd done it. She didn't want to. She was like, he's too young to me, Dad. And he was like, if he wants to go, he can go. And I literally just carried on playing. And then I left Everton when I was 9. But couldn't sign anywhere else because of, like, my registration and things like that, and they wouldn't let it go and stuff like that. But then after a year, I had to take a year out playing Sunday League. I signed for Liverpool.
Oh, that year in Sunday League, like, did you bag like 60 or something?
No, it was class though. Honestly, it's probably one of the happiest times. I was saying this to my missus the other day. It was probably the time when I enjoyed football most.
Just free.
It just probably is. I don't know why, but it's just, I got so many memories from that, and I don't remember a lot of me time now. Like, say, being at Liverpool, I can't remember many, like, games.
Very regimented,
like,
probably.
you know, like, fresh in your mind.
Compared it to that robotic
lot.
time in your life, like,
It's
robotic, regimented, and then you go Sunday League and it's just free.
It was class.
Turn up, have a
So I
cuppa.
loved it. But then at 16, I got released from Liverpool. Went to Spain. Like, got offered to go back in the summer for pre-season. Got there. They went into administration. I then said, I'm homesick. Went home and didn't have a team. I'd let all that go because obviously I thought I was going to Spain. I hadn't decided to try and get a new club. So I had nothing at 16, 17. And then we played, after a year of playing, like, college football, like, I played for Liverpool County FA in a friendly against Huddersfield, and I played centre mid in that game. I play centre mid, do you know what I mean? I can do it, but I don't. I just did in that game. And then after the game, they asked me to go on trial, and then I went on trial, got there and said, I'm a centre forward. And he was like, well, we need a centre forward more than we do
A centre mid.
Centre mid. So luckily, I ended up staying there for a couple of weeks. It was a good few weeks, to be fair. And I was like, right, like, I need to know what's happening here now. And they were like, oh, like, we want you to do, like, a 6-week trial. I said, look, like, I've been here a few weeks, like, I have a sign or I don't, like, I'm not staying for 6 weeks. I got to the point in my life where I was like, you either sign me, mate, or, like, I'm gonna
you've seen
go.
enough
Do you know
of
what I mean?
me.
You've seen enough, like, you know. And I didn't go in on the Monday. Don't know where this came from. It's like, I just didn't go.
Why?
And they rang Monday night and said, oh, like, we'll offer you the contract. I didn't do it at the time, trying to do that.
But that must
I
have
just
done
thought, like, well, I've been there 2 weeks. They haven't let me know what's happening. They said 6-week trial. I don't want to do a 6-week trial because I want to, like, if I'm staying in, like, in Liverpool, I need to start, like, looking at jobs and changing career or whatever. But I still thought I could play, but I could play for Liverpool County FA and things like that. And I just didn't go. I just said, right, well, they mustn't want me then. But then on the Monday night, they were like, where was you? And I was like, well,
You don't want me.
give me nothing, do you know what I mean? So they were like, oh, like, we'll offer you a contract and things. And I signed there and ended up staying 2 years. But then again, I got released again. So it's always full of rejection, my life.
Wow.
So I never really got there at a young age where you're getting like really good money for your age until like I signed for Morecambe. And I signed there for 6 months at first because I think I went in as like basically a favour in pre-season. They already have 4 forwards. They don't have much money. It's not like big clubs. Obviously, I was a young lad. But every pre-season game, I kept scoring. So it got to the point where like they're going to have to do something. So they offered me 6-month contract for 200 quid a week, which is basically your petrol to get in. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
But I was
my
living with
God.
my mum. I didn't care. So I was like, yeah, cool. So I signed for 6 months, and then a week later, we played another pre-season game. I came on with like 20 minutes to go and scored 2. So after the game, they changed it to a year contract. But on the same money, I didn't care. Do you know what I mean? I was only a young lad, just wanted to play, which was mad again. And then it got to the second game of the season, and we played Cambridge away, funnily enough. And it was the first time I'd ever started the game. I was 18, and I scored 2, and we won 2-1. And when I got off the bus on the way home, the assistant manager, Kenny McKenna, his name was, said like, oh, like, do you want us, like, we want you to sign a new contract. And I was like, whoa, like, this is mad and that. So I was like, well, okay, well, you're going to have to pay me properly then.
Change quick.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, if I'm going to stay, then you're going to have to pay me properly then. Like, I've already signed 2. And then that was when, like, I started playing a lot more regularly. And
What
obviously I was
emotions are
living
you
with my
going
mum
through
and-
there when, like, because you're just a kid, you're just eager, hungry.
I just rolling with it, right?
Rolling
Honestly,
with it.
it's been the thing of my whole life. I was just rolling with it because I weren't where I
Some
wanted
pros
to get
wouldn't
to.
take
So I
that.
always thought like I'd chase things, whereas now I'm like not content where I'm at. I want to obviously to be really successful in life and get forward, but like it's just going to happen if it happens. You know what I mean? I don't like chasing anything. I think if you chase something, you don't get it.
You don't attract it.
Do you know what I mean? I think if you obviously work as hard as you can to achieve something, but you don't go chasing it, if you get me, it comes to you, it finds you. Like,
Where does that come from? Because some pros at that age wouldn't accept 200 quid a week to go and play for Morecambe. They'd be like, nah. Like, especially
It's an
today's
ego.
day and age, they're all driving Mercs and they're doing this and there's no disrespect to it. But, you know,
no, it's an ego, innit? I think when as I say, when I said like I was the most important person in my life and people around me, I think a lot of people who have, say, been at Liverpool the whole life and been in my age group or whatever, they get to 18, they've been the most important person in their life. But like the mums and dads, like some people get carried away with the kids and start thinking they're going to be the next Steven Gerrard and now it'll be like Trent before they've even achieved it. But then you're a child, you can't help but feel that. You can't help but like think, oh, I must be special then. And all of a sudden you form this ego and you're at this thing and you start driving Range Rovers when you're a kid and that. Like, what are you doing? Like my brothers and sisters, even if I'd have done that before like I'd achieved anything, like even like, mind if you have achieved stuff, they'd still slap
it's
me
like
and say, what are you doing?
before you can
Do you know what I
walk.
mean? But like some people, like the families are happy with that.
Yeah.
Like my brothers and sisters, my mates would be like, who do you think you are? Like if I was 21, they'd be like, what are you driving that for?
That's very
Like,
lucky to have in it.
keep
Friends
a
and family, keep you
normal car. But I
grounded.
think a lot of like now it's just people's egos. It's hard to deal with. And I also think as well, like when say you're an 18-year-old and you make it into Liverpool's first team and you're and you're playing every week and you're scoring goals to cop end and you're on the pitch, you're playing every week, you're travelling, you're literally fully involved and
With
you're in
the
the team
squad.
now and you've got obviously playing with Salah and Van Dijk and all the best players. But then I think sometimes kids, you're a kid, like embarrassment can be a thing. You see those lads rolling in Rolls Royces and things like that. Like they've earned them, do you know what I mean? But I think that sometimes kids like feel embarrassed by like, oh, like I can't drive a Focus or a
Can't
Ford.
drive a 21 plate.
I need a Merc at least just to feel comfortable. But it's sometimes probably to make themselves feel more comfortable
In the
and less
in the
awkward in
scenario,
their
yeah.
surroundings. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Rather than doing it to be big time.
I get that.
Whereas other people might actually do it to be big time. I think there'll be a lot of the kids who go, "Do you know
Especially
what?
being so young and you look to
I
your
need
left
to fit in. I
and you
need
look
to
to your
fit in. is
right
what
and
it is."
everyone's like driving heavy cars and you're in the first team and you're like, I need to be driving this or I'm going to get fucking volleyed out.
Yeah, like they're gonna like it's like more of a fitting in type thing, and no matter where you are, a lot of people like this. What I've learned as I get older, I don't try to fit in anywhere. I just be myself, and it's what it is. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't really care. I'm just me. But I think when you're a kid, especially, like you feel like you have to fit in with your surroundings, and it's just the life they're around, they get pandered to. And
it's very interesting. It's very
I think
interesting.
that's probably what happens. But
coming from a non-professional outpost.
I'm actually grateful for it, but luckily I didn't get
Didn't
to
fall
that
into
point
that
where
trap. So talk
be
to
at
me.
Liverpool and then fall off.
Going on 200 quid a week for a full year. Obviously, you don't need to say any figures of what you went on to next, but like, what is that jump like? Well, as a kid,
it weren't much like when my wages went up. It weren't that much, but it was just like an actual difference. It was like a proper working wage then. Do you know what I mean? Not 200 quid. Like basically, it wouldn't. If I had the house or whatever, it wouldn't have been enough. Basically, my next wages meant that I could have afforded the mortgage if I wanted one. So it weren't like life changing, but I was living with my mum and stuff like that. So it was fine. Do you know what I mean? Like money's never really been an interest to me, and never will be. Because it comes and goes, like it's only
comes
piece
and
of
goes
paper,
so
like
quick.
it's numbers on a screen.
By the time you're in it, it's gone.
Like I suppose, like it's easy to say when you've got enough for now. Like, do you know what I mean? And you can put food on the table. It means a lot when you haven't and you can't afford to do that. Do you know what I mean? So it's probably not right to say it like that, but equally, like
I understand what you mean.
If I had
you don't
no
mean
money,
any disrespect to anyone.
It wouldn't change me. Like having money and being able to buy a nice car and things. Yeah, it's lovely, but I don't really care. Like I could change car and have a bike tomorrow. It wouldn't change me as a person.
We need to see that.
Do you know what I mean?
Paul Mullin going into trading on a pedal bike.
On a Lime or something.
We need to see that. On a little city bike.
It doesn't, like, money wouldn't change me. Like, more money wouldn't change me. Less money wouldn't change me. Like.
And then obviously you go through your career. The clubs you were at were Morecambe, Swindon Town.
Yeah, went to
Tranmere. And obviously Tranmere weren't going as well. Then Cambridge.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Wrexham. That's quite a few clubs in your career. What did you learn most going through them clubs? Like, what's the number one thing you learned?
I could probably take different things from different places. Swindon was the first time I'd lived away.
Was that hard?
So I loved it in the end. I swear. Me and my missus went. I was only 21. But it was like I got a real independence for myself. Found me, really, of what I like and stuff like that. My mum always brought stuff with, like, she always cleaned the house and things, so I'd see her do it, do you know what I mean? I knew how to wash clothes. I'm not, like, stupid, like, I could cook dinner, but obviously my missus is a really good cook, so I loved that, so that just learned me to grow up, really, more than anything. From Tranmere, it's probably just how to deal with, like, say a bit, I don't know, because I didn't see a doctor or anything, but, like, a depression type situation of where I couldn't seem to dig myself out of a hole for the
first put you in that hole?
6 months. I now look back, I'd moved back from Swindon and I had to move into my mum's while we were waiting for our house to go through. My mum's house is like a stop and shop, like all my brothers and sisters
Everyone's
come round, their
there.
kids come round, and it's constantly, and I haven't been there for a year, and everyone was coming to see me all the time, and I just wanted my own space, but you can't tell them, look, I just want my own space, do you know what I mean? And that was probably a start of it. But then obviously football went the way it was, and got to the point where I'd play a game, I got man of the match, it was Morecambe away, and then the next game come, the manager wouldn't play me, I'd be like, why? And I'd play, and he was like, oh, like, you didn't run enough. I'm like, well, I did, because I got the stats there. And he, oh, you didn't sprint enough? So I was just like, so at that point I was like, right, you don't want me to play.
You don't like
So that sort of started it, because at that time, my miss was pregnant. And then I was thinking, well, I've just signed here. I've just moved back from somewhere I was happy to come back home, like, and this is how it's going, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, that was only the half of it, but it's all people actually happened. But, like, that was, like, the start of it, and I just couldn't seem to dig out of it for ages. So I learned then, like, basically more resilience. I'd built up a lot of it through my career of being released, going again, and kept going. Like, at 16, I had no right to ever become a footballer. Like, now, me looking at me at 16, like, now, I'd say I was deluded. Like, I'd say to myself, don't, like, go and do something else. But I didn't do that, do you know what I mean? I stuck at it, and that
was your granddad, didn't you?
Probably. But it's just the resilience in me of, like, nobody, anyone who ever tries to, like, I don't know, put me down or whatever, I'll always have it in me to try and show them.
Prove it to yourself more than anything.
That's what it was. I want to prove to myself that I know myself better than anyone else and I can do it. And that's all my life's been, is resilience. And then Cambridge taught me to be free, go and enjoy football. I found a manager who trusted me and that I've waited for so long for.
Is that key, that, in the professional scene? Like, it's okay saying that you start and you're getting minutes, but a manager actually being there for you. Yeah, it's not
just trusting you on the pitch. He just trusted everything about me. Before I signed, he basically said to me, you know, like, I know you've got a young family. I know that's going to be on your mind a lot. If you ever want to go home, you let me know and you can go. And luckily, I was scoring goals every week, so that might have played a part in it. But if I ever did say, look, I need to go and see my kid, you'd take 3 days off. Or if we play an away game up this way, like on a Saturday, he'd say on Thursday, get off after training, meet us at the hotel tomorrow night. I'd meet at the hotel, play the game, and he'd be like, come in Thursday. And I'd basically have a full week at home with Molly and Albie.
That's so nice.
And just little touches like that. Like he was unbelievable. But then obviously on the pitch, do you do anything for someone who'd do that for you? Do you know what I mean? So that just let me to be free. I live with a friend in Norwood down there, and we played golf most nights when we were on our own. So I just sort of enjoyed life a little bit more, not just so regimented, but then it reflected in football. I was just being myself, and everything else will take care of itself.
It really does reflect on when you talk about your career, them little changes from the manager, go and spend half a day with your kid and your newborn kids, like that matters massively. At the end of the day, we're all humans, Paul, aren't we?
Just human being. You like to just be treated the way you treat other people, and that doesn't always happen. And
it's the one thing I carry with me anyway. No matter your status, your fame, your money, no matter what, you still wipe your ass and you still butter your toast.
Exactly. Unless you get your missus to do it.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Now we're at Wrexham.
Yeah.
The past 3 years, like back to back to back. It's never been done before. Take me through the 3 years. Like, I know it's a lot to go through.
It's quite mad. It's been a full roller coaster. Like, we've had every emotion. Obviously, the first year I signed there, we ended up finishing second, which meant you had to go in the playoffs. We lost the playoff semi-final with one of the only home games we'd lost in that half of the season. 5-4 in the playoff semi-final. And I sat in the change room after the game thinking, have I done the right decision here? Like, I know I moved back home, like, stuff like that. And then the next season comes around, and that was basically the start of all the
madness.
Journey. Obviously, it started the year previous for me, but that's when we really took off, and we ended up having to get 111 points to get out of the National League, which is a record for a points tally. Every other year, 90-odd points or 90 points.
So you obviously came down the leagues, didn't you, to Wrexham?
Yeah, so I left. I'd been promoted at Cambridge. We got promoted into League One, and then I left. Basically, my contract was up. I said I only wanted to sign a year, and I just wanted to come back home.
What made you? Was it always just coming back home, especially when obviously?
Yeah, well, I would have, because I love Cambridge so much. Cambridge is a dear place to live. Do you know what I mean? I basically asked them for 500 more quid a week, and I'd make the move with my family. Like, I wouldn't have made any money whatsoever. It went straight on a house. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally paying rent, I would have made absolutely. I'd have been worse off, like, from probably what I was doing at the time. And they said no, they can't do it.
Really?
They'd love to. I'd just finished, obviously, top goal scorer and broke their record, broke the league record. And
is that actually statistically right? 500 quid more?
Yeah.
And they said no?
They said they can't do it. They'd already maxed what they could afford in the budget to give me.
That's so heavy.
Which is fair enough. It's football.
It happens. Do you know what I mean?
Football's
like, football,
you have your limit, and that's fine.
But I
couldn't do it financially. For what they were going to pay me, moved a family down, like, it just wouldn't have worked. But obviously now it's worked out.
But then Wrexham comes along. Like, how do you get to a club like Wrexham? Like, obviously you've just been promoted. What in your head goes, oh, we're going to go down leagues here?
So they get in touch with obviously my agent and things like that, and it weren't something that was on my horizon at the time. But I said it numerous times. The owner, Rob, ends up ringing me. And I got off the phone and said to my family, I'm going to do it. Just the way he talked, and basically we outlined a plan on the phone to get to the championship within 5 years, and this was the 4th year, and we've just achieved it. And I got off that phone call, and I knew, I had a feeling, you have a good feeling about things, and I knew it was the right thing to do. And
so he rang you and said, with 5 years, we're going to be in the championship?
Yeah, that was part of the call. I've never really said that until
now,
and to him the other week, because he remembers the call. Because I didn't want to say it. Because on the call he said, on the call at the time, he was like, obviously I don't want to be shouting this from the rooftops at the moment because we're still in the National League, we've achieved nothing and things, but our plan is to be into the championship within 5 years.
Phone goes down.
And I was, right, I'm going. That was me, done. And at this point I didn't know about a documentary and all this. I signed the contract, and as I was signing it, there was like a few more cameras about, do you know what I mean? Like,
few more than
I'd expect for signing at a National League club, and I was like, what's happening here? And they were, how can you sign this form? I was like, what is it? They're like, oh, for the documentary. I was like, oh, right. Didn't know. They're like, Disney walked across the top. I was like, a bit strange, but whatever. Like, signed it, and then obviously from there on out, it's been.
How does that work with a club? Like, are you is that mandatory for you to do as a player of that club, or have you got a choice?
No, because I'm not signed it if I didn't want, and you can't basically use my image or voice in the thing if I do that. But it's nothing to me. Do you know what I mean? At the time, I was just signing and get on with it. Like.
So you lose the semi-final first season, 5-4, did you say?
Yeah, I think so.
And then the next season, you obviously get 111 points.
Yeah, we had to
world
break
record.
We had to break a UK record for any of the English leagues, like that season. But Notts County, who were in second, got 108 points. I think it was in the end. And it was like we had to win every week, like literally near enough every week.
What's the pressure of that, like having to win every week?
Like that year it'll never be beaten, I think. I know enough Wrexham fans now, they're all like my best mates and stuff, but that feeling of that promotion will never be beaten. Like I can't really explain. All I can say is for 2 years and everything that had happened with me and how well I've been doing, it felt like a bubble was forming around me, and it was like just pressure building in the bubble. It was getting bigger. I remember sitting down at half time. We were playing a game against Bournemouth. We had 2 games left of the season. We needed to win one of them. We were 1-0 down against Bournemouth after 30 seconds. And we score after 10 minutes. Elliot Lee scores a header. And at half time, I'm sat in the changing room, like the manager's talking, but genuinely in this moment, I just literally staring at the wall. And in my head, like I'm thinking, like obviously all this like pressure that I've like putting on myself, like I'm feeling like it's my responsibility after everything that's happened. And I'm sitting there thinking, like it has to be today. If you don't do something about this, like it's not going to happen. Like it's got to be finished today. Went out the second half, and obviously we win the game. Scored 2, but that moment of the final whistle was like someone just put a pin in me. And people talk about like celebrations and things. Like I see grown men, like children, women, like crying on a pitch. This is like 15 years of pain. Like these people got their own money out the bank, sold their own houses to save their football club. And luckily enough, 15 or 14 years later, 2 American A-list celebrities come and buy it, puts a load of money into it and help the community as well, not just the football club. And I was basically a main character in getting it promoted and getting it going again. And just to see all the pure joy and emotion in the faces, like that will never be beaten for me. But personally, it was like someone just popped all this pressure around me, just evaporated.
I'm getting pressure just speaking about it.
I felt like I could breathe again. And I just wanted to go and sit on the couch and just take a deep breath and just go, and just sit there with a cup of tea watching like whatever footy's on the telly. I didn't. I had a party and we went out, but that feeling was just like, I just want to go to bed now. Like, finally, it's done.
The whole season. And,
like,
and
it was 2 years.
Game,
it built because we'd lost the semi-final.
You felt like
we only had like 2 weeks off that summer. It basically been 2 years of this whole pressure. And at the start of the second season, the one where we had to get 111 points, the documentary came out from the season before. So that then adds a new dimension when you've got so many more fans and people paying attention.
Yeah.
And the year we got 111 points was when like the attention was really on. Like there was cameras everywhere. We went Sky and like BT were playing all the games at the time. It was BT. Every one of our games was on the telly. Like I think we played Notts County on Bank Holiday Monday around Easter. Might have been Easter weekend, and Liverpool played Arsenal, and our game got more viewers than Liverpool versus Arsenal.
Do you feel that whilst you're on the pitch?
No, like you don't know, but I mean, like the whole attention and pressure, like
like
my life changed
a
a lot
microscope
anyway.
On
but your phone's going like constantly,
crazy.
Like not social media, like your actual phone, like you're constantly on the telly, like people, you can't go to the shop anymore. Like not just because of the game, but obviously the documentary and things. So my life had changed a lot. And I had to just roll with it because I had no choice.
So interesting that like you were saying to me, like you were playing against like these people and obviously in the lower leagues, and then like you're saying now that just changes. The documentary, people have a microscope on your life, then they have a scope into it.
People think they know you.
Yeah, that is something about the internet
like,
today.
Personally though. So like you see people in the street, and like, hi, you're okay, and I'm like, yeah, you okay, mate? And they're like put their arm around you, and you're like, mate, I don't know you, do you know what I mean? Like, sound like we can have a lovely conversation. I'm so privileged that like you'd even like let on to me and that, but like can you please not hug me and that, do you know what I mean? Or like you'd be out having dinner
and you get
do you know what I mean?
headlocked.
Like I'm trying to get the baby his iPad and then like I'll take a photo, like mate, does it look like you can take one at the minute, do you know what I mean? Like 10 seconds, not a problem, like I'll do anything, I'll queue up for an hour, but right now like I'm picking an iPad up off the floor, I'm stopping and throwing the knives, do you know what I mean?
It's nice that you could see the fans side though. I like
that's
that.
Class. People like this, you're so like you're the same, right? Like you walk down the street, like we're actually so privileged and honoured that someone would even say, "Excuse me, can I take a photo?" I'm like, "What with me?" You'd be the same. You're like, "Why?"
Why? In
like,
the coffee shop, and you're asking yourself like, what people actually want.
That's
you know what I mean? And we're grateful for it.
We're stood there, and you're like, "Why?" But
I'm down here, you're up here, different levels, completely different levels.
But do you know what I mean? It's like we're in our head, we're like, "Why?" But then at the same time, it's like as if. Do you know what I mean? Like two lads just grew up in Liverpool, just
because you do it with the pure intention,
and you walk around and like it's like mental that somebody would even ask you.
I know.
And
it is weird.
You're just like, wow.
Interesting. It's not weird.
Do you know what? I get awkward with it because I don't feel worthy of it. If you get me, it's like an imposter syndrome.
Why do you not feel worthy of it with all the work you've put in?
No, because it's like an imposter syndrome. Like I'm just me from by arse. Do you know what I mean? Like as my mates would say, do you know what I mean? It's just Paul lad. Like, but like sometimes you do still feel like awkward. Like really, mate. Like. Obviously, as it's gone, you get a little bit more like expectant of it to happen.
Get
like
used to it.
After being in like movie and things like that, like you know it's gonna happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas at first, I used to be out at first, like after everything first started happening, I'd be like, "Who they looking at?" Like to me mates and that, I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, you're just a normal scouser.
Like, am I gonna have to say like what's up? Like do I know them or something? Like. And he'd be like, "No, lads, probably just because you're in a documentary or something now, or like even like in a movie or whatever." Do you know what I mean? Like, oh shit,
that's so interesting to adapt to, though.
But I found it like weird. I'm quite observant to my surroundings, so I used to be like, are they staring at us? And that?
It's interesting
like,
you say
could be
that.
Anyone, it could be kids, but I'm like, why are they?
Why are they looking at me?
At first, I'd be like, why are they staring at me? But
in my first few years, when the violence was happening, you get paranoid a bit.
It's a bit weird.
You're like, so obviously I got jumped years ago. Jumped, nose broke, bottles broke over me and all my mates.
Let's go and film them in, lads.
And then we're not celebrating that, by the way. Just the normal scouser piece, boss. But that created massive paranoia in my life. Like I was like groups of lads and that. And then videos started going viral, started creating content. And I used to get like lads looking at me. And I'd fucking shit myself. I'd be saying to my girlfriend. I've actually never said that. I'd be saying to my girlfriend like, my God, am I going to get jumped again here? But they'd be looking at you to say like, oh my God, Stillryan. But I'd be pooing my undies thinking I'm going to get me head punched in again. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's just the way it works.
And then obviously you get promoted and then it's the next season.
Yeah.
Talk to me like the highs of getting promoted.
It was a mad year. It was like basically broke my ribs, punctured my lung in pre-season playing Man United
How'd you
in
do
America.
That? Who done it?
Goalie
Go on, we'll fill him in.
think there's a queue, lads, trying to find success. No, so the keeper ran out the goal, I've touched it right, and then he just ran into me. What are you doing? But
pre-season,
it turns out to be like class. I had 2 weeks in the middle of LA and San Diego with my two best mates. Like just living life.
God,
obviously,
you
I couldn't go in the water.
Lad, the amount of things you do.
But it was class.
This stuff.
Do you know what? At the time, I did actually say I should have bought a GoPro. But
nah, they're all in here.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so then I come back from injury and then I came back from America and my granddad died in September. And I hadn't scored or played up this like up to this point. And the weekend after his funeral, he used to always say to me, "You'll score a couple the weekend all the time." And I used to be like, why two, granddad? Do you know what I mean? 3 or 1 will do, do you know what I mean? And sure enough, I ended up scoring 2. Like I scored against Crewe, it was. I scored 2 in the game, and then the season just went literally like that until January, February. We faltered a little bit, but because of what we've been through with the pressure the year before, like the team was just so strong and resilient. We were all like a family. Like one bit of bad news for everyone was like for one person was for everyone. We had a lot of things go against us, like in the changing room, like lads, like things happening with the families and stuff that year that was really tough. But again, we went in literally back-to-back promotions just so fast. Explain
to me, like, the family side of Wrexham. You've just said it's like a family. Not many clubs are like that. Everyone would wish to see the club like that.
I think we need to be really careful because the club's going so fast that way. And you know what? Everton and Liverpool are very commercialised now as teams. We need to make sure that Wrexham doesn't end up that way. because that's what makes this club special. Obviously, it's as you go up the levels, it's only natural that things change.
More cameras than
but
there
when I
actually
signed, I used to know every member of staff. But now we've got so many staff that it's impossible.
Yeah.
I used to know all the people who used to work in the shop. Used to know, like, obviously I still know the chefs now, but I used to know all the people who were in the kitchens, who were in the obviously commercial room and that. And now there's so many people, and there's many things we need to keep. And it's like, even on a match day, we park in the university next door, but we have like a big long walkway into the stadium. Like, we need to make sure that stays in, because it's time to interact with the fans. And
sick.
We represent the fans, no matter the same as any football club. The reason Liverpool have done so well for the last few years is Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp could have been no good at tactics, but he understood the people. He represented the Liverpool fan. He was very front foot and very aggressive, and he'd go for it. No matter what had happened, Liverpool go for it, because that was his personality. So the fans,
you're so right,
recognise the team. Everton don't recognise a Sean Dyche team when they wouldn't go and have a go. Do you know what I mean? They would wait and wait. Like, Everton, go and have a go. The fans are happy if you have a go, and I think that's like David Moyes now. Yeah, they'll be really hard to beat. Like, Dyche's team's really hard to beat, really good team, but they've also got the edge to go the other way. And I think we represent them fans, you know, a hard working class town. It's up to us to carry that on, but I hope as we do carry on climbing as a club that they don't lose the closeness we've got with the community and the fans, because that's what makes this club special. This is what's made us what we are at the moment, and the moment that goes will be the moment everything changes, I'd say.
It's so interesting you speak about Everton. Yeah, it's so true. David Moyes, no disrespect to any manager, but he understands the fans.
That's what I mean. He just gets them. Like, obviously, Sean Dyche done unbelievable jobs at Burnley. He's done an unbelievable job at Everton, keeping them up. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're in real big trouble. Like most Everton fans will say the same, and he kept them up. But David Moyes just understands them. He just understands
Makes
the club.
A massive
he understands
difference,
people, and I think when the people have a connection to the team is when the team thrives, and that's what's happened with us.
I don't speak for every football fan, but I think any football fan that I'm friends with, if you get beat 6-0, we're not bothered. But as long as you're just running, smashing tackles, and you try, that's it, innit?
Different teams will have different things, won't they?
That's it.
A lot of fans will say that, but then they want to go to the game and they want to see skills. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but they don't say that. Like, they say they want to see hard work because that's what they think they're expected to say. But really, they go home and be like, "Oh, didn't have any shots or whatever." Do you know what I mean? Like, so different teams have different philosophies, but I think obviously, working class towns, the teams are represented by the players working as hard as they can, and nobody will fall out with them if they give everything.
No matter what. It's interesting because obviously Ryan Reynolds and Rob, I can't say his second name, I'll just say it.
McElhenney.
Rob McElhenney. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. They've obviously came into the club. How did they, and they've never been football owners ever, how do they understand the working class town and put their models into a club? Like, for example, you coming in and knowing every staff member, that's not normal. But it is to us.
Yeah.
Coming from that working class background.
Personal connection, you meet people, doesn't matter who they are. Like,
so was that credit to them as two owners? They
employed obviously people who understood a lot of things, but also like they're also just normal people.
But how entwined they are.
Like, Rob McElhenney grew up in Philadelphia, which is, I was actually speaking to him about this the other week, like very much a place like Liverpool, very working class, community based, like help each other out.
Yeah.
Like, and he obviously understands when you invest in something, you're going to try to understand the area, aren't you? So they've obviously done a lot of background knowledge, but also employed some really good people like Sean Harvey and Humphrey Kerr who work at the club, who understand football as well as communities, and they've done unbelievable in making it what it is.
It's such a credit though when you think about it, because it's not easy coming in as brand new owners, but also understanding the place, doing your research. Like, that's massive. Mm-hmm. For what the turnaround they've done too, and then they've also instilled it into the players. Like, they've made you believe in the dream that they've created for Wrexham. Do you know what I mean?
That's mad, isn't it? Like,
when you think about that,
they come in with a vision, and obviously it's well documented. We've obviously had a lot more money as a club than a lot of other teams, but that's through commercial deals.
Money doesn't solve everything, though.
And you've got to spend it wisely. And I think as players, we've done an unbelievable job to take the club where it has, and that in turn has meant that the club's earned more off the pitch through commercial deals, and through time it'll probably be to our own detriment as players, because we'll get to the point where you do that well, the club have got that much money that they don't want you anymore, It's just quite sad, but that's just the way it is, isn't
Truth.
it? But the owners have been unbelievable. We all got, well, I'd like to think we've all got personal relationship with them now. They might not just owners of the football club, like the people who are dependent.
I was about to ask that. Do you have personal relationships with them? Are you very close with them?
Probably more so than owner to employee relationship. It's the other way around, really, and they're very appreciative of what I've done for them. But obviously, I'm so grateful for what they've done for me. They've done absolutely wonders for my life and changed my life. Obviously, me performing on the pitch has contributed massively to that, but without them, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do this. So,
are you grateful for them?
Absolutely.
I think it's so rare for an owner to have a relationship because a lot of owners don't even go to the training ground. Do you know what I mean?
They don't.
Owners don't even bother with players.
I didn't meet the Cambridge owner while I played there. I know it was COVID and that, but I played there for a year.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, owners sometimes live in another country and they're just sending dough to this business, whereas them being in with the players, being in with the staff. I've seen Ryan do some amazing things. I've seen Rob too, but I obviously follow Ryan, do some amazing things for fans showing up, speaking to Wrexham fans after game. That makes the difference.
Yeah, they do so much for the community. They do so much for...
But that all builds
people who
up.
are suffering as well, though. There's a young boy, Archie, who's going through a cancer battle at the moment. So he's in Manchester at the moment getting bone marrow transplant, which hopefully can solve it. But
hopefully.
Rob and Ryan invites them to sit in the box with them and watch the game when we got promoted the other week against Charlton. He came into training with us and was watching us train and things like that. But that's all from them, a personal touch that they give to people to help. But there's so many other examples of that. That's just because it was a fresh one in my mind. But they do so much just to help people, because time's one thing that you can't, there's no much amount of money can affect time. So they can be as rich and as successful as they want, but them giving time back to other people and making other people's day makes them happy.
So nice
than they'd be sat on the couch. So.
They don't have to in a position of power. They do not have to at all.
They do it purely for the love, and obviously they wouldn't do it if it didn't make them feel good, but at the same time they know the effect they can have on other people, which is
me personally. I think Wrexham's changing the footballing game. I really do. And now you're promoted to the Championship. Life's hitting fast. It's moving very fast. You obviously talked about the better you do, it actually might affect the players in terms of their career with Wrexham because of the level of quality of football, and Wrexham will need to invest in more. You're in the Championship now. Future's looking ahead. It's looking bright. Are you excited?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't never know what the future's going to hold, do you? You know what I mean? But I suppose it's like when you go on footy manager and you go Real Madrid and you've got Mbappe and all this, but you've got 200 million in your account on there. Do you know what I mean? But you're going to go and buy new players, don't you?
You've got to, yeah.
You want new toys. If you're a kid and you've got all the toys in the world, but you want new ones. It's the same in football. Sometimes it's just the way it is. We go up the leagues. Obviously, we're going to need to sign players who are used to playing at that level and better. Do you know what I mean? Or even better than that level. That's the way it is. We've done that all the way through. But if that means there is the end for some of us, then so be it. Obviously, it's tough to take after all we've achieved. But I don't know. I'd just like to have the chance to go and perform there again this season. But if not, I've achieved so much. I'm so grateful for the owners for bringing me up to now. It's been some ride, some achievement, probably set records that will never be broken and made history many times over. So I can be proud of what I've achieved, but it'll also be tinged with a bit of sadness if I do leave this summer, because I felt like last year I weren't able to get back to my best just through lack of being able to play and get fit. I wanted to do it going into next year, but if it's not to be, then it won't be on me. Obviously, the manager makes his decisions, and if he says the only way I leave is if he says to me I'm not going to be in his plans, and that's cool, that's football. I disagree, but as I've shown many times before, Fitch only sets a fire within me even more so.
Paul Mullin proves it. Before we end this, I want to ask, strip away everything, end the career, whatever it is. What does Paul Mullin want to be remembered for?
That's different aspects of life, and I want to be remembered as being a good dad more than anything, a good partner and a good family member. But that's to me kid. I want Albie to grow up and go, I had the best dad in the world. People get it wrote on the tombstones or whatever when they're dead, but how many people actually mean it when he put it on there? I want to die happily one day knowing that they mean every word of what they put on it.
That's so beautiful, brother.
from family to sport aspects different. I think it's going to be tough to create a bigger legacy than what I have now at Wrexham in the probably, I say short time, meaning like in terms of football span of say I play for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
It's only a short time to be able to redo this with everything that's gone on. So I think me sort of football legacy is sort of written. There's many parts I can still write within my story. But I think of one club, I think the history I've made over the last few years will be something that I'll always be remembered for. And it's will fill me with pride probably for the rest of my life. But yeah, from a family point of view, I just want Albie to say I was the best dad I could be, and
Beautiful.
everything else falls into place.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
No problem.
Did it fly? Did it go quick?
What time are we on? 11:23.
Did it go quick?
Yeah. I didn't
Thank you
know
so much for coming on today, brother.
Nice one.